It's always a pleasure, working with him.
The album sounds great. He worked on the first album as well?
Yeah, absolutely.
Cool. So what's the first single that you guys are going to release, and is this being released worldwide?
Actually, I think the first single that is going to be, should be out tomorrow. It's going to be Utopia, I think, the one that you played before.
Okay,
so
cool.
And then for sure there's going to be another official video on the end of October. I think the same day of the Forsaken release, there's going to be another video. And I think that Utopia was, for me, one of the best pick to choose as first single, because I think it got a bit of everything, like it's kind of violent guitar riffing in the first parts, and it's how to say, it's a bit more old style as we've done in our first record. And for a single that is going to come out in the end of October, we pick a little different song that it's not what you might expect, because of course there has been many people that was expecting, Noveria to go always like fast, striking, like Slayer type of. So we are gonna, I think, go with another song that is gonna be way much slower, bit genty. It's a bit different,
Cool.
Yeah.
So now it's Scarlet Records. So they're gonna do a formal release in the United States?
I think so. Sorry, can you take it again, the question, because I didn't get it. Sorry.
No, that's right. They're gonna release it, in the United States as well, right? Not just in Rome.
Absolutely, yeah. I think it's going to be released in the United States the same day that it's going to be released in Europe. I think so.
Yeah, I would imagine. Seeing they sent it to me, so I mean,
yeah.
But is there any plans to come to the U.S. and do a tour?
Wow, that'll be Actually, that will be like really interesting and definitely great to do a tour in the United States. But thing is that I don't want to, we don't want to rush things out, and of course, touring in the States will be like a dream come true. But we also need to, stay with feet on the floor, because you never know how much request there is for our band in the States. So I definitely will. Nowadays, I'm more like interested, like in maybe join a festival or something, just to see the response of the people, and just more in that way. Maybe a few shows, but a whole tour, I think it's difficult for the moment, because we don't know how much request there is in the States yet.
Right. No, that's definitely understandable. So I guess it's the second album, so I mean, it's definitely, you can get on a package. I mean, it's definitely something that I think would pick up here. I mean, it's that style of music is still a big thing here, and you guys put a new twist on it, basically. But
absolutely.
So what type of music is more popular there? It's not every day we get to hear from someone that far away. So what type of music is popular there now?
Well, it's I have to say that in Italy there's a really interesting scene that has grown in the last 5 years, I think, or even more, because there has always been a lot going on here, and of course there's definitely a lot of such interesting band, at least for what I like about prog metal. There is, of course, DGM, there's Chronos Zero, there's lots of interesting bands that plays that type of music, but also in the hard rock scene, it's really, really interesting. There is something that is moving, The only thing that is a bit crappy down here is that there's, of course, lots of bands, but the venues are not so that many that plays this kind of music. Rome, that you expecting to be the capital of our country, doesn't have many clubs, and usually it's never like that well organized. the organization is always a bit lame. You never know. So it's a bit different, I think.
Yeah.
And it's a shame because there's such great bands and great musicians down here that, I mean, the world is full. But in my small point of view about here, it's a bit of shame,
Yeah, I think that it's not too far off here. So there's not that much of a scene where I'm at. I'm close to Tampa, so it's more of a heavier metal, screaming type of thing. But there's not that. There's really, honestly, it's disorganized for the most part. It's hard to get people to the shows, so really, essentially, it's not that much different. I mean,
I think it's the same but different, maybe because because of the distance, maybe.
What's your fan base like there? I mean, do you have a big following?
Actually, there has been a good response because we, to be honest, we didn't play so many shows because. It's always a bit difficult to get all of us together because we live different. But we have a few shows between Rome, Milano, then Torino, and there has been always a good response. I mean, in Rome we headlined a couple of shows, and the first one was sold out. That was really about the release of the first record. And then also the second one, there was plenty of people. It was a Thursday night, so not in the weekend, but there was, I think, it was a small venue, but there was, I think, 80 people for sure. And but yeah, I mean, within the YouTube visualization, and there has been some interest in our band. So I think it's gonna. I hope it's gonna grow definitely more. But so far, all the show we played, it was great feeling, and all the people were singing our song. And so I think it's a good result for a band that started from nowhere,
Right, absolutely. I mean, it's a good feeling just to know that people know your song. So the sales on the first album obviously were well enough for them to go ahead with a second album. So, or was that part of a package deal, or?
Actually, to be honest, I don't know really much about the sales of the first record, but actually the label manager was really happy. So I think somehow something has been sold. So I don't know numbers, but I think he was happy and he asked for another record. So because we had the contract only for one record,
right?
I think it's fine because I mean, if you are they shouldn't also take the risk to hire a band for 5 records, and either for us. So I think one record per time, I think, is the perfect way to work.
Absolutely.
And, because
if you want to move on, or if something's not being done the way you like, at least I only have one more album to do or whatnot. So.
Yeah, I think the contract for this for second, at least now we picked for 2. The deal was for nowadays it's for 2 records, and I think that's fine also because it's not this how to say it. You're not forced to do 7 records for every 2 years or something like that.
Right.
It's way much relaxed. And I prefer, and we all prefer, definitely to work in a relaxed environment, taking our time, reflecting which song should go, or what we wanted to talk about. I think making a record, always you gotta have a vision about it, and I think taking the time and not having big rush, it's the best way to get things done, at least for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I'd agree with that. And a lot of times, you don't want to sign a lot of, a 7 deal, a 7 record deal, because a lot of times these record companies change staff and then you don't get the attention, or the guy's not there that signed you anymore, and they don't put any promotion into it. So it allows the artist, a way to move on if needed, or continue on if they're doing the right thing by the band. So, but.
Yeah, But I think that way it's more than fine for us and also for them, you know.
What type of the American bands were an influence on your writing?
Oh, wow! I take this this question like really personal because actually there's I love the American scene from the whole like 80s scene that was maybe from the of course San Francisco Bay Area, like Metallica and Anthrax, all this thrash metal scene that I really like. Then of course there was Slayer, and then Pantera and Lamb of God I love a lot. And I think there's really great American bands that plays like the metal that I like. And but also another big influence on me was like bands like Journey, like Bad English, all these hard rock bands that is really put a piece of history in music. And also then I love also like situation like Toto and all the blues that comes from the States that I think it's just incredible. And then, of course, there's the whole prog metal scene that maybe might be more like somehow European, but also like Dream Theater was a good influence on me, and Symphony X, especially Symphony X, because I really like their approach and this kind of heavy riffing mixed with this, insane solos and stuff. There was a lot. Let's say that most of my influences were like from the United States. So
no, that's awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, the Lamb of God was the first time I saw them. They were like, I think, promoting and touring the Sacrament, one of their best records that I got to know. And they were like supporting, I think, Children of Bodom and Slayer in this Unholy Alliance, and I didn't even knew about that band, but they just came up on stage, and there was like this blowing like heavy metal machine,
right?
Really heavy riffing, really great drum parts, and then Randy Blythe was like, wow, that was something, And then, of course, I went to check out their records and stuff, and it was, wow. It's just, wow.
That's awesome.
Then, of course.
So you mentioned Dream Theater. I mean, that's everybody always mentions that when they're pretty much playing that style of music. Actually, that's where I'm from, their area. My wife actually went to high school with one of them guys, and John, the bass player, worked in a studio that I actually used to rehearse in on Long Island in New York. So
wow,
we were up on the. So when they were coming up, I mean, they were always playing local shows and stuff. So those guys, a great band from Long Island, and the drummer. I mean, he's played with a million bands now. It's crazy, but
absolutely.
It's insane to see how far those guys have come just from being on Long Island before they were even Dream Theater, basically. So,
but Dream Theater, I think that they worked really their ass off to get where they are now, because they are being always like pushing more, developing, and there is. Within every record of Dream Theater, you can see an evolution. Then you might like it or not like it, but there's. I always got the feeling that it is a band that really believe in what they do, and they worked really, really, really hard to get where they are now, and it's totally deserved. I also took a listen to this, The Astonishing, their last record. I think that was something really amazing.
Yeah, I mean, they put out great music, and those guys, have never let it really get to their heads either. I mean, John was in Dream Theater after their first album came out, and he was working at the studio, and I didn't really even know it was him. And I was looking at a local music paper, and I go, that's the dude that works at the studio. So when I went in to talk to him, like, why didn't you ever say anything? He's like, it's not a big deal. He just sat there quiet, set up the rooms, and then played his bass sitting in the booth there. So it's good to have a little story, when I'm talking to someone, and you're all the way. So But
that's a pretty good story.
Yeah. No, they're good guys too, and you know